Hey guys, how's it going? It's Teddy Guts of Gold here. I know I haven't uploaded in a while, but I've been very busy. I'm finally graduating college. I finally finished my job at Apple, going through masters and everything, applying what I'm going to do after college. So it's been very busy, but I've been wanting to do this video for a while now, which is talk about my experience at working at Apple as a part-time specialist. I looked online like when I was applying, and I didn't really see that many videos of people talking about the job, what it is, going through it, the applications. And kind of what you do when you're there, like the things that people maybe don't know about the ecosystem or about the job. So this video is going to be me telling you all of my experiences. I'm talking about interview process, background of me and Apple, how I got in, training, the people and the culture, the Apple Vision Pro launch. I was part of it, which was really cool. And just kind of all the positions that you can apply to if you're doing like a part-time job. A lot of people don't know them. For example, there's sales specialists, there's backup operations, there's technician, maybe managers. I can't talk about that, but I kind of know a little bit of what they do and everything. So it's been really fun just kind of seeing everything in real life. And it's always been a dream of mine to work at Apple. It's been a company that I've always been fascinated to. So also, if you do want to skip to some specific processes or some things that I'm talking about, in the bottom there's gonna be chapters, so just skip along if you want to go just to like how to get the job, how to do resume, how to do the interviews and all of that. Just skip ahead. Everything's gonna be there. If you don't find it, it's in the description. But yeah, let's go. Let's get right into it. Let's do it. I'm excited. All right, so just to give a little background of me and Apple, I've been a fanboy for the longest time. I have almost every single products except for the Vision Pros now. I had them for a little bit. I tried them out. I just wanted to see, like, in my own experience, how I would use it daily and everything. I have a few clips that I can show here, but I've always been a fanboy. Literally a company I've always wanted to work for, either corporate or in the store. At least one of these experiences I really wanted to do. Also, when I was a kid, these t-shirts, always wanted to find a way to get them. And it's so crazy you can't find them online. And when you're done with a job, you get to keep them. Like, for example, I still have all the t-shirts. I have a jacket. They let you keep your badge, which is really sick. It looks like that. They let you keep everything, which is really cool. I even have a picture over here of what I was on the whiteboard when they put me into a team or when they put me into a specific group. They let me keep it, which is really nice. But I've always wanted one of those. Also, I'm a big tech geek. I know all the products. Every time people have issues with computers, phones, iPad, watches, they always go to me. Like my family, my friends, I'm the guy that fixes everything. I always know what to do. I always have the latest software. I do developing for Apple, where it's like you can get the updates ahead of time. Now it's free for everyone. Now you can do it, but before you used to pay $99 a year, and you get to have the features ahead of time. I used to do that. I thought it was really cool. And I would always be up to date, look at leaks, look at rumors, look at how to do this on the phone, like things you can learn every day. And that's something that I was always fascinated about, which always made me want to work for Apple in any shape or form, which was really cool. So that's kind of like my little background of Apple. I literally keep all my Apple boxes. I have the 8, I have the 10R, I have 13 Pro Max, I have 14 Pro Max, and the 15 Pro Max. And I know in September I'm getting the 16 Pro Max. I also had the 11 and the 12, but I don't know where those boxes went. I think my mom threw them away, but still mad at her for that. But yeah, literally all that. I have all the watch boxes, all the AirPods, computers, keyboard, mouses, anything that I can get my hands on, laptop boxes. It's actually like crazy. And I don't know why I keep them. And there's always a meme like, Apple boxes, you just have to keep them. Just, it's such an expensive product, and like honestly, these boxes are really cool. They're really cool to keep. Don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I don't know why I keep them, but they're cool. It's nice to have them. I think I don't know. I don't know. And now I'm gonna get into kind of more about the interview process or how to get in, resume and everything. So yeah, let's jump in. So the interview process with Apple is fairly weird. Something that I've noticed is they really do take their time to really analyze every single resume and application that gets in. When you look at, I'm gonna talk more about the people and the culture later, but when you look at the people that work in an Apple store, they're all very diverse, very different skills, very different hobbies, very different attention details that they find. And they really take apart your resume and your application, more about you, to see if you do fit into the work environment. So for example, over here, I'm gonna put a picture of my resume. Maybe some of you don't have this resume. I'm also a very big college person where I am very professionally developed. I have a full-time and everything. Apple was just a part-time just to make some money on the side from school so I can pay for more lunches and stuff, or I can do more fun stuff, trips, vacations, stuff like that. So it was mainly for me just a way to experience it. Interview process was 3 interviews. It varies on different types of stores or different locations. I work in the Buffalo Walden Galleria one, which is in Buffalo, of course. And for me, it was 3 interview processes once you get in. Also, disclaimer, it took them about 6 months to reach out to me after I submitted my application. So if you do submit an application and you don't hear back, it's okay. It takes time. They really do this every quarter, I believe, and every end of the quarter, which is around 4 months. It is 4 months, 3 months, sorry. So don't be like, oh, they didn't accept me within weeks, I'm done, moving on. It takes time. Yes, apply to other stuff. I would not say just to stick with Apple and see and find out what happens, but definitely be patient. It happens. Very simple. Their questions are mainly about how you handle interactions with customers. At the end of the day, when you're a sales specialist, you're going to be talking with people every single day. How are you going to tackle these conversations? How are you going to manage difficult times, difficult questions, different scenarios? There's a lot of different scenarios that can happen. For example, when you're setting up a phone, you're dealing with carriers. You have to sometimes be there for 3 to 4 hours with the customers because there's a lot of carrier issues where you have to call the carrier and everything. It's very complicated. They want to see how you handle these situations. So there are questions, you can probably find them online. I don't remember them. I did my interview about 8 months ago, so I don't really remember. But it's mainly, how do you tackle this situation? If this were to happen, what would you do? There's no going to be technical questions. They're not going to ask you about specific products, so you don't need to learn about that. Something I do recommend is knowing about the company ahead of time, like knowing their values, knowing their mission statement, knowing what the ecosystem is. And something that I realized is when you do those interviews, you don't have to say that you have all the products. You don't need to have all the products to get the job. I've known someone that only has a phone, doesn't have the AirPods, doesn't have the iPads, and he still got in just because he knows how to handle situations very well. So it's something like that. Just prepare yourself, think of past experiences, or think of yourself in their shoes. What would you do if this customer were to do that? That's something I always recommend. Resume, I don't think it matters if it's good or not. They just want to see different skills that you have, different hobbies that you have, different passions. Because for example, when you're working there, say someone that does music come in, if you do music, they're gonna like you because you can talk to that person. You can actually help them out and give them very good suggestions. For example, I do video editing, as you can see here, photography, and when a customer comes in and goes, oh, I'm using this MacBook to do photography, I'm like, oh, I'm your guy. Like, I know how to do this. I do this literally all the times. I can recommend the exact product that you need because this is what I need, and it's been working so far very well after 3 years. This is really the things that they want to do. So make yourself stand out. Make sure your stories have a lot of meaning to it, have a lot of knowledge out of it, and that you kind of understand the customer interaction very well. That's something I would recommend. I think that's it that I can say for interviews. There's not really much I can say. It's pretty internal, and you can most likely find questions online. Don't think they're going to be those questions, but yeah, it's a good shot to just look at them and just kind of practice of how to answer them, which I think is really cool. But now let's move on to training. When you actually get the job, what happens? I don't know where I'm gonna put this, but I did forget to talk about pay and benefits. I don't know if I can really talk about pay. I'm pretty sure Apple discloses how much you get paid, but I got paid $22 an hour in Buffalo. Look up your own local things or local numbers, but I got paid $22 an hour. I worked around 30 to 35 hours a week. Part-time is usually around 30 hours. The cool thing about being part-time, mostly when you're a student, is you get to drop shifts and pick up shifts whenever you want. So say you have a final Thursday, I'm gonna drop it and then I'm gonna pick up a shift Friday because there's one open, and you can kind of do a little switcheroonie. Something that's also really good about Apple is they're very flexible. If I have a whole week of exam, as long as you give them a heads up that you have a whole week of exams that you're not gonna be working. For example, this week is finals week for me. I'm not working. I'm done with the job now. I finished last week, but for a lot of students that work there, they're okay. Like, it's fine. They'll work with you. They also want you to succeed in life. They don't want you to just be Apple power hungry and work. They literally want you to succeed. Benefits. I will say Apple has really good benefits. I don't know if I can talk about discounts and everything, but we do get discounts. But benefits, traveling, mental health, stuff like that, like anything that you need, they have it. I'm gonna give a little example. I don't want to get too personal, but I do use their therapist platform where I have my own therapist now, and it's all paid by Apple. I get 36 sessions. Really sick. That's really cool. They're professionals. It's very simple. I did the process in 10 minutes, and literally the next day I had a therapist that talked to me, and it's really cool. It's a really cool way to really use the benefits. If you need mental health, take it. I'm a huge supporter of mental health. If you need therapy, definitely do it. And if you do work at Apple, it's free. Just ask your manager of how to do it and then they'll teach you. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to mention that in there. Training is going to be a very quick session. I don't think there's much I can really speak, or there's nothing that you might be interested in. Like any training methods, the first couple of days are just going to teach you about the company, about their values, about their mission statements, how to really promote the brand, how to make the customer experience as best as possible. Something that a lot of people know, Apple they're very expensive products. But when people go to an Apple store, it's mainly about the interaction and the experience that they're going to get. If you go to any other store like Best Buy, Samsung, I think they have stores, Microsoft, they're not the same way that we are. We really care about the customer. We ask them how their day is going, like, oh, like what's going on? What's going on with your phone? Stuff like that. Oh, like what do you do for fun? What do you do for work? We really want to get to know you. And a lot of people think this is a sales strategy to sell you stuff. No, it's literally just so that we can get the perfect recommendation for you so that you don't overspend or underspend and have to come back later. We really want to make it a one quick stop, get your stuff and get out, and you won't have any regrets, you won't have any issues in the future. It's really important that we get to know our customers so that we can sell to them. And that's something that in training they teach us. Really care about the person, what questions to ask them, how to really get inside their skin. Now there's a lot of different types of customers. Older people tend to really talk a lot. They're very talkative, they want to share, they want to tell you what they do. There's also the very average person. Oh, this is what I do for a job, this is what I'm gonna do on my computer, what do I get? And then there's also the very close customers that come in, they're like, I don't want help, or I know what I want, and they're very convinced that whatever they want is the actual thing that they need. But something that we're trained to do is, you might come in and get a MacBook Pro, the most expensive thing, just to do web browsing. We know that's going to be already a red flag. You don't need it. Why would you spend that much money on that? And then, then we say, do you have AirPods? And you say no, because you can't afford it. We're like, why don't you just get a MacBook Air and get a pair of AirPods? And then you spend still less than a MacBook Pro and you get to have more products and more variety. You can use AirPods when you go working out, when you're on an airplane, you can cancel all the noise, instead of just buying a machine that you don't need and you're not going to use its full capabilities. So training is really like, how do we get to know the customer? How can we help them? How can we make their experience as best as possible by making them feel welcomed in the store, making them feel listened in the store? It's really important. And then for 2 weeks, 1 week you shadow someone. So pretty much I will follow another employee. I will not be wearing an Apple t-shirt. You just wear a sweater. You follow someone. You've probably seen it if you've been to an Apple store and you just see some random person standing next to the salesman, listening to how they do it. This is so that we can kind of get a feel. You don't talk, you just watch for a whole week, 3 to 4 shifts, you just watch. And you really get to know and see these interactions, and say there's a hiccup, you're not part of it. You're not in the mistake. You're just looking at how the salesman's like gonna tackle it, which is really cool. Then the next week you reverse shadow, where now you're in charge of the whole thing. And then the person that was training you watches you sell, watches you do your own thing, and they only jump in when there's really an issue. They're not going to jump in just to like say, oh, hey, how are you? Like, and ask the questions for you. It's really a time where you're in the hot seat, see how you handle it. And of course, when I walk in, I'll be like, oh, by the way, like my name's Theo, but this is so-and-so. He's just going to be watching me sell. If there's any hard questions that I don't think I can answer, I'm going to refer to him or her. So it's something really cool where you get to train and have the best training. You're really not just out there. You're not just in the middle of the sharks. You're actually getting trained, and people actually do see you, and then they give you kind of feedback after a transaction. They'll be like, oh, let's go to the side. Let's talk about it. Like, what'd you do good? What'd you do bad? How can you improve? Here's how I think you can improve, but this is how I think you did well. Something else I will say is for phones. Phones is the hardest thing because you're actually messing with people's carriers. You're messing with loans and stuff. So phones is a little more training. So at first you start with little basic products like AirPods, cases. computers where you don't have to activate anything. You just sell it and then you can help them set it up. But phones, that's a little more complicated. That's where I had a lot of issues. I'm not the best with loans and carriers, but they taught me, and after 2 weeks of training, I was perfectly well, and then I sold over billions of phones. Well, not billions, but a lot of phones. So it's really fun training. You get to have a good laugh. You have a lot of breaks. It's very well planned. I will say I have no complaints for that. But now let's talk about the people and the culture. I will say I was very impressed when I got in there. Just when you talk to all the employees, you really see a huge variety of people. People that are into music, into gaming, into photo editing, into videography, dancing, working out, stuff like that. Different languages. So for example, I speak French, so when I saw a French customer, they'd send them right to me, and I can like make them feel welcomed into an Apple store in the US, which is really sick. We had Spanish, people that speak Spanish in the Apple store, which when there's a Spanish customer or someone that speaks Spanish, we don't have to use that Translate app. If there's none, we have to, but we can just send them over to that person, and then they actually get to help them out, and we don't have any difficulties or misunderstandings. Because when you're doing carriers, most likely with phones, you want to make sure that the customer is actually aware of everything that you're saying. And when there's a language barrier, it's pretty different. What I've noticed is when you had to use the Google Translate or the Apple Translate app to sell to someone that spoke Spanish, some words just don't carry over. It's very hard to explain loans and to explain like monthly payments and down payments and taxes and stuff like that. That you might have some issues where they're like, oh, well, I didn't want to do that. Like, why did you make me do this? So it's really cool that we have this huge diverse group of people with different backgrounds that can actually help you out. Going back to skills and hobbies, it's really cool when you walk into a store and you're this person that just wants to learn about more of this, like music making. I want to use this laptop to make music. Who do I talk to? And we'll be like, oh yeah, we got this guy over there. He does music on his free time. Go talk to him. He'll know how to help you. Not that I can't. I know I can because we're not trained, but we can use our senses to what we can help them out with by just asking them questions. But it's nice that they can relate to someone that works there that does exactly what they do. It's really cool. Also, people care. When you walk in, like, we actually care for you. Also, people care for each other. Like, when I would be at work, I would ask every single employee, how's your day going? What are you doing later? What do you do for fun? And you really get to know your employees. And it's really cool how, again, people have different backgrounds. People have different hobbies and skills. And you really get to know the community and you really feel welcomed. When I got in, I thought it was going to be nerve-wracking. No one's going to talk to me. Everyone wants to get to know you. All employees are a huge family. And a lot of places say that, but I will say firsthand, you are a family at Apple. It's actually crazy. Like, I had such great conversations. I made really great friends. Some that I even hang out with now out of work. Even though I see them 40 hours to 30 hours a week, I still want to hang out with them because they're such cool people. People that I text on the daily now. People that I look up to. Even the managers, they're great. They have great skills. They really care for you. If you're ever a little late, they're understanding. They're not gonna give you a pain in the ass. They have a lot of empathy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And you actually make a lot of great friends. You get to joke around all day. You get to, when you're done with a sale, you go to these people and you talk about the sale. You talk about what you did good, what you did bad, like maybe funny moments. Like, also, something I would say is I personally took a lot of time to get to know my customers. I would ask them so many questions that after we'd be laughing, making jokes, and it just increases the customer experience, which I was really wanted to work on. That's one of my skills that I was very bad at, like talking with people. And that's something when I got into Apple, I wanted to work on. How do I make small talk? How do I go from just selling a phone to making a connection? It was really interesting to see that the more you get to know your customers or your teammates, the more you get out of it. It's actually insane. And yeah, that's pretty much all about people culture. There's not much I really have to say about it. It's pretty self-explanatory. We're above and beyond. Apple is really a family. It's really cool. But now I really want to talk about the Apple Vision Pro launch. Probably a lot of people want to hear about little sneak peeks and stuff. So let's get into it. So something I have an honor to do at Apple, or something I had the honor to do at my time at Apple, is a new product launch. Now, a lot of people don't know, but you know how rare it is for Apple to launch a new product and being able to be part of the team. It only happens every 3 to 4 years, or maybe 5. Think of it. not new iPhones, like say the 14 to the 15, a new product. So like, for example, when AirPods were introduced, when iPads were introduced, Vision Pros were introduced, it was one of the most fascinating experiences I can see how we prepare for it, how we reduce leaks, how do we keep everything confidential, how do we actually train employees to use them. Something that was really cool, we were given these when you work at it, which is a thank you for being part of the Vision Pro team. I'm gonna block out the name, but it was a little note for your manager. It says, like, for example, for me, it said, Theo, thank you for sharing your humor and your drive is inspiring. Probably read it wrong. I'm not very good at reading, but I'm just kidding. But it's really cool. You got to be part of that. So training, pretty much, we only knew the product 2 weeks before the launch. They try to really reduce leaks. When we were training, no watches, no phones, no nothing, no headphones. You really are private with the product, and you cannot talk about it outside of work. You can only talk about what Apple has said about it. So on the website, you could probably just say, oh, it's gonna be a spatial computer. It's gonna be that. Very simple. But you can't talk about features because we don't want to ruin the experience. Now also with the Apple Vision Pros, this was the first time that Apple made demos, which is when you can walk into a store and actually try the product before you buy it and have a personal one-on-one experience with the employee. I'm gonna put some pictures of me doing it. I had a great time doing it. Pretty much, you're in a 30-minute session with someone one-on-one. You get to talk to them, you're sitting down, they're comfortable, I'm comfortable, and you're teaching them about the product. You're really like looking at the reaction of the first time seeing. Imagine it was someone's first time seeing a phone. They'll be like, oh my God, you can make calls around the world. But like this one, you really got to show them all the features, being able to get out of an Apple store and go into an environment, being able to text, being able to open Safari, being able to move a picture around your room, put it right there in the back, and it will stay there forever. Getting to watch movies, getting to watch something that was really cool is it's a 180-degree 3D video that plays back in 8K footage that we got to see them. It's a 1 minute and 30-second clip, which is one of the most fascinating clips I've ever seen. If you do have a chance to go to an Apple store and do a demo and you haven't done so yet, please do it. It's one of the best experiences. The people that do it are great. I did a lot of them, and I actually had a great time just talking with people, getting to know them, like showing them this new technology that no one knows about. Yes, you'll say VR is there. It's not VR. When you do a demo, you'll understand how it's so different than VR and how actually insane this technology is. But they're really cool. And yes, they're pretty expensive, but for the technology that you're getting, and I always tell this to people, they're like, oh, why would I waste four grand? A lot of people use them now for professional use. A lot of people use them for work. I know Porsche now uses them to show customers what their car would look like with all the specs that they want. For doctors, they get to actually practice procedures. They get to practice simulations of how to do a procedure, which is really sick. Like a lot of usually used to use a computer thing or used to I don't know how they do it. They used to maybe shadow or like watch pictures or videos. I don't know. But now you actually get to train using them. I think of it, this is my own opinion and not Apple told me to say this, but I think Apple wasn't expecting the biggest revenue with them, but kind of to show a new technology, kind of to show what the future is gonna be. And the fact that now you're able to practice simulations for operations is insane. It makes it so much easier for doctors to learn, to actually practice, and probably will speed up process and procedures. It'll probably speed it up a lot faster, I guess. This is all my thing. I think it was just really cool. Being part of the Apple Vision Pro team was really sick. Getting the new layouts, like the new tables and everything, really sick. I have no complaints. I think it was an honor being part of a new product launch, and I know a lot of my friends and I had a great time doing it. And Apple really took care of you to make sure you understand the product. We got to have demos. We get to give demos. Really sick. I think that's pretty much it with it. Pretty much it. But if you have any questions, ask away. But now I'm going to go more into positions of Apple. So what are the 3 that I recommend and know a lot about? So let's get into it. So in an Apple store, 3 positions that you'll see or not see is sales specialist, operations specialist, and tech specialist or technician specialist. I don't know what the fuck they call it. Sorry, no curse. I don't know what they call it. Pretty much, I was a sales specialist. You're on the floor, you're selling, you're just teaching people about the products, the differences, Very simple, very self-explanatory. All I did was just talk to people. What do you want? What do you need? How can I help you? What questions do you have? And sell. Then there is operations. So operations, a lot of people don't know about this one. I feel like when everyone applies, they just ignore it. Operations is really cool. It's pretty much you're a runner. You walk, you're in the back, you're kind of the backbone of the company, bringing the products to the salespeople, or also shipping trade-ins, shipping recycling, shipping this, shipping that. You're shipping everything back and forth. You're also the one answering the calls when someone calls Wall and Galleria, for example, or when someone calls your store, you're the one answering the phone. Pretty much you scan stuff, you bring it out, you do a lot of background stuff. I don't know how much into details I can go for. I also don't want to get sued by Apple. So Apple, if you're watching this, please just leave me alone. I'm just trying to help out. Trying to promote it, I guess. I don't know what the word is. But operations is really cool. You get to see the whole backbone of how an Apple store is managed, how inventory works, how calls work, how shipping works, how you're also the one in charge of making the Apple Vision Pro boxes. So when you order an Apple Vision Pro in store, they're customized. It's a very customizable thing. So you're literally packaging the box to the person. Imagine you were the one packaging this box, which is really sick. You get to package it. You also get to make the demos for the people. That's pretty much it. Again, if you have any questions about any roles, comment them down below. Maybe I'll make a short answering it, or I'll make another video of answering your questions. But then Genius Bar or technicians, pretty simple. You've probably seen them before. You're fixing everything. You're there to help with people's issues, water damage, cracks, data migration, anything like that. It's really cool if you're into technology or if you're into actual engineering, because you get to actually take apart computers. It's a lot of training, I will say. Technician, I've seen my friends do it. It is a lot of training because you are working on someone's physical computer or phone. You do need to know what you're doing. You can't eyeball it. So like if someone asks me about a specific product, if I say something wrong, it's not gonna make or break because I could always fact check it. But if you're working on someone's computer, you wouldn't want someone to not be trained appropriately to work on your computer. If that makes sense. I'm pretty sure it's logical. Then the last one, I don't really know what I can really talk about. Managers. If you do want to be a manager, pretty much you're there making sure everything is running smoothly. People say managers at Apple don't do a lot of work. They actually do a lot of work. When you might not notice it when you walk into the store, but there's people with iPads just standing in corners or standing in the middle, and they're just making sure that every customer is taking place. They take notes of who came first, descriptions, what do they want. They literally retain all that information that someone says. So imagine I'm person A and I walk in, I'm like, oh, I want an iPhone 15 Pro Max, but I don't know if I want a 14 Plus, blah, blah, blah. They'll be like, all right, wait at that table. They'll remember all the information, put it on notes, keep it in their head. But then literally 2 seconds later, someone else comes in, person B, saying they want a computer now. They want something completely different. They're completely different conversation. They send them over that table. And then imagine I'm a salesman and I get freed up. They're like, oh, go to that table. That person wants a 15 Pro Max. He's still not sure about 14 Plus. He has Verizon, blah, blah, blah. They just remember all the information, and they always look at the schedule constantly to see who they can place at what table, or who can place with which customer, which one would fit the most with them. It's really a lot of strategy and a lot of operations of how you can maximize the salespeople and how you can maximize how they work. They also always make sure that you're multitasking. I don't know if you've been to an Apple store where you go to iPad table is a great example. Phones you can't multitask because you can only do one transaction. But for example, if you go to an iPad table, say there's 3 customers and they're like, we're just gonna send one person there and he's gonna take care of all 3. You have to be able to make sure the table is comfortable enough to share all the information together. So for example, I'd walk into the table and be like, what's up guys, I'm Theo. By the way, I'm gonna be helping all 3 of you. Don't worry, we'll all get a one-on-one. You all get to have all your questions answered. But if you have a question, maybe this person has the same question. Let's all answer it together and learn about the product together. And it makes a really cool experience because sometimes I'll make them introduce each other and then they start speaking together. Makes my job a little easier and makes their experience a lot better. Something that was fun is during Vision Pro demos, a little fun story. When I was doing a demo, we only were allowed to do one because we were gonna close in 30 minutes, but 2 people showed up, they didn't know each other. And I was like, all right, I'll do both. Let's bring them all together. Let's put 2 strangers together and do a demo. And I was literally able to have a funny conversation with them. They got to know each other. And then after the demo, they both went to go get food together because they had such a great time learning about the product together and getting to know each other and just joking around with me. Great experience. It's a win-win-win. Win for Apple, win for me, and win for them because they literally met. Two people just met and went to go get lunch. And we were only supposed to do one. So one person was going to get an L and walk away, but we made their day a little better. So it's really stuff like that that managers handle, and they chose me because they know I could do something like that, where I'm very good at getting people to know each other and getting people to talk with each other. And it was just really cool. And managers actually have this great skill that maybe they're not very recognized for, and I do recognize them for that. But that's pretty much it about positions. Again, questions, ask them below. But yeah, I'm gonna give my conclusion, and then I think we'll wrap this video up. All right, so kind of to conclude my Apple journey, I learned so much from Apple, and I'm very thankful for everything that they taught me. Being able to just be out there and sell, being able to have finally one of these t-shirts after decades of me as a kid wanting to have one of them as a huge fanboy, being able to keep it is actually insane. All the memories I've made with the people I've met, honestly, great learning experience. If you do like Apple, or if you're ever interested of how these companies work inside of a sales perspective, apply. Great learning experience. Bigger picture, I learned so many skills like small talk, how to make conversation, how to be a better people person, how to sell, how to get to know someone and really listen to them, and being able to give them what they want. Like, it's very hard when someone comes into a store and goes, I know what I want. I'm very stuck. I'm very stubborn on I want this. And you're like, hey man, I don't want to burst your bubble, but you don't need that. Save some money, or maybe spend a little more, and then you actually get to do what you want to do. Great memories. I do want to thank the R016 Walden Galleria store. Really made my experience amazing. It's something I'm never going to forget. And every time I talk about it with my family or my friends, it's always positives. Really great experience. I do recommend it if you do want to apply, get it. And fun fact, I mean, I don't know if this is a fact or not, I really don't, but apparently it's harder to get into an Apple job, like a sales specialist or any type of salesperson job at Apple, than to get into Harvard. I'll put the fact up there or up there. I don't know if it's true, it's from Business News, but apparently it's harder. It's harder to get into Apple as a salesman. Because think about it, they probably have a lot of applications. Probably a lot of college kids want to work there as part-time, and they only take a certain amount of people. They only take maybe 6 or 8 people out of thousands of applications. I don't know if Harvard has the same amount, because I know like I can't get into Harvard, so I'm not going to apply. But I don't know if I can get into Apple, so I'm just going to apply to try it. But I don't know, it's a fun fact. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps you a lot. And if you are planning on working at Apple, I wish you the best of luck. If you just wanted to stop in this video to see what the experience is, I hope you got a lot of knowledge out of it. And if you have any questions, please comment them down below. I'll answer them as best as I can in the comments, or I'll make a separate short or video answering all your questions. I don't know. We'll see what time tells. Maybe this video gets 10 views, so maybe I won't have to do that. Please like and subscribe. Share this video if you can to people that maybe are interested in the job, or if they want to get more insider knowledge. It'll help a lot. And please subscribe. We're trying to get this channel to 3,000 subs. So yeah, have a great day. For students, enjoy your summer. And yeah, have a great one. Peace.